Well, hello, Heritage leaders. Pastor Matt here with a quick orientation to how leadership is going to be a little bit different in 2023. As you know, our mission is making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. Our strategy to get that done is for us to become a place where our neighborhood gathers together, grows together, and loves those in need together, both nearby and around the world. We envision when these things are in place, there will be a gathering place. We'll create spaces and events on our campus for the purpose of inviting our neighbors to feel at home at Heritage. Not just to swing on by, but to feel at home here whenever they're here for any reason at all. We envision ourselves becoming a growing place. We'll create discipleship experiences that help people develop skills and habits that build the kingdom of God on earth as it is in heaven. We will raise up the next generation of leaders for the church of Jesus Christ and intentionally give it to them. We're not going to just hope that they wander into it, back into it, somehow find their way there. We're going to try to intentionally help the next generation step into leadership. We'll also make sure that what we've learned from our transition to a church in the post-Christian era, we're going to make that available to current and future church leaders through internships and training events. We've been through a lot lately, and we don't want to just learn from it and store that for ourselves. We want to share that with others. We envision ourselves becoming a loving place where we'll develop a strategy to help children in the foster care system feel loved and equipped for a hopeful future. And once we have that strategy in place, we'll offer it to other churches so that they can be a part of that work as well. We're all haunted by the statistic that there is one kid in foster care for every 7 churches in Pinellas County. If the church gets involved, we'll solve some things. We also envision ourselves forming strategic partnerships with agencies that care for the poor in Clearwater and around the world. We're connected with the Methodist Church, obviously, and there's ministries there around the world, and we have partnerships with those nearby to help care for the poor in our neighborhood. And so we're confident in those partnerships going forward. Leadership at Heritage looked pretty much the same since our inception in 1977 until 2018. We had the Administrative Council. Sometimes it was called different things, but that was the name of it, the Administrative Council, or that was at least the nature of it. Then you had what we might call the Big Four. You had staff parish relations committees that were in charge of staffing. You had the nominations committee in charge of lay leadership. You had the board of trustees that took care of the property and fixed things, took care of all the things that you have to do if you own a property. And then the finance committee, who would do fundraising, track our expenses and our income, and make sure that we stayed solvent. In 2019, we added something called the executive team. That was a team that basically advised me and other leaders. It consisted of the chairs of the Big Four committees and ad council, as well as their predecessors from the year before to add some institutional memory. And they served to, like I said, advise me, to help make some decisions. They didn't have a whole lot of authority to decide a lot, but they were good advisors, and they would sometimes prepare issues they needed to come before the ad council so that those meetings could be done more efficiently and more effectively. This year, things will be different. Will be a lot different. We'll still have the administrative council, but the staff parish nominations, trustees, and finance, and the executive team will go away, instead replaced by something new that we're calling the Heritage Leadership Board. Now, these two teams will continue to do the work of staffing, lay leadership, trustees, finance, but they'll do so in a way that prioritizes our strategy. It's easy for those 4 topics to become sort of dominant, areas of focus unto themselves, when really they should be there to serve the strategy and make sure we can use the strategy and accomplish our mission. So the Ad Council and Leadership Board will make sure that we are becoming a gathering place, a growing place, and a loving place. Those are top priorities, and everything else needs to exist to serve and support those three things. That's what we're going to be about. That's how we're going to accomplish our mission. We have to focus on those things. And so our leaders will help make sure that we keep that focus. Now, the nominations committee will also be a part of the new leadership system. Some of the equipping volunteers for ministry will happen through the HLB and the Ad Council, but nominations will continue to nominate people to be elected to the Ad Council and the HLB in future years. So it will continue to function pretty similarly to the way they did before and will remain in place in 2023 and beyond. So as far as the Administrative Council goes, that will continue to meet as it has in the past, continue to make sort of those big existential decisions about the church's life together. But we anticipate it becoming a gathering of ministry teams, not just the way it was before, sitting, hearing reports, and voting on things. We do want this to be the field that includes our best leaders and most excited members. And so we anticipate ministry leaders and ministry teams are the ones who will make up the Ad Council. Some of those examples of ministries are listed here, but there could be others. We just know that the Ad Council contains some of our best and most excited leaders for the church, and so we'll be at our best if they are willing to step into some of these specific areas of ministry and give leadership. What you see listed here are is this year's members of the Administrative Council. You have the three classes of 23, 24, 25. That year is the year that they will roll off of the Ad Council. Then you also have members by position. There's people who are on Ad Council because they were elected to a specific role of either staff or lay leadership for the coming year. You will note that we are going to be adding another lay delegate to annual conference, because there should be one lay delegate for every one pastor you have at your church. We are adding a pastor, Jean Briseno, and so we will add another lay delegate at a future Ad Council meeting. The HLB will consist of a much smaller group. There'll be the board chairperson. There'll be some board members who are elected purely just to be on the HLB. Then you'll have the lay leader and the lay delegates, as well as the Administrative Council chairperson. They will all be voting members of the HLB. You'll also have some people who have voice but are not voters on the HLB, which would be the pastors, the treasurer, financial secretary, membership secretary, facilities director. And then you'll notice one more line down there, which says any members by position who are related to a board member. So if you have someone who is supposed to be on the HLB with voice and vote, but their relative has been elected as a board member, then in that case, you'll have those people moved from the voice and vote category to the voice no vote category. You'll see we have two cases that are in that vote this year. Our lay leader, Jake Othier, is married to Sherry, who's on the board, and Tim Barnes, our lay delegate, is the father of Eric Barnes, who is a board member as well. And so they will be members of the team with voice but not vote, so that you'll have two people from the same family having votes. This is the makeup of the HLB this year. You have the classes of 23, 24, 25, as well as people who are on the HLB by position. And so those are the members that are on there. You can see the key. If you're green, you're a voter. If you're yellow, you are not a voter because of your position. And if your name is red, then you are normally a voter unless you're married to someone who is on the board, or a relative of someone who's on the board. Now, we want to make sure that we make the most of our time together in these meetings. We are absorbing the work of many teams into fewer, and so we want to make sure we're efficient. Heritage Leadership Board meetings will happen monthly, second Monday of the month at 6:30 p.m. The focus will be on those strategic things. How have they gone? What are the results? How can we equip more people to make sure that those three key things are happening? To be efficient with our time, we'll make sure that all Subcommittee reports, if someone on the team has been given a special assignment, a special task to accomplish, they'll report back in writing digitally before we all meet together. As well as we'll make sure that all the members have read said reports before the meeting. Again, it takes up some time if we're introducing things for the first time during the meeting, so we'll hopefully get some of that done ahead of time. If you have clarifying questions about things that have been shared digitally, you can go ahead and ask those things. However, discussions and votes and decisions, we'll ask that those will be held until we are meeting in person, so that those things can really be decided as a result of the interaction between members of the team. Clarifying things, go ahead and get those knocked out of the way. If you have a question about which direction to turn, what color was the car, those are fine to ask ahead of time, but we want to save discussion and votes for in person. Lastly, if we're going to be writing a motion or wordsmithing something we're producing, we'll probably assign that to someone who will do the writing and then share that for proofreading and approval digitally before it might go on to ad council, for example. We, again, won't have a whole lot of time to get things done in these meetings, so all that can happen in between will be really beneficial. As far as ad council goes, they will meet bi-monthly, which will be every other fourth Monday, also at 6:30 p.m., and their focus will be on mission, vision, values, making sure that the things we're doing reflect who we really are. Similarly, all the motions reports that they're going to be considering will be sent digitally ahead of time, and we'll hope that all the members have read those things before we all meet together to save us some time. One difference here is that all clarifying questions, discussions, votes, or decisions are held in person. If you have a clarifying question, maybe other people have the same question, and so rather than having 15 people all ask the person who sent the report out the same question, we'll just save those and get to them all when we all meet together in person. So that'll help us to make sure that we don't skip steps along the way, and that everyone is able to be on board for the whole discussion. As far as who attends the meetings, the HLB will be partially open to all. Will be live streamed, but if you're not available to be there, we'll invite you to join by video chat to make sure that we can get as many people involved in the meeting who are on the team as possible. If we're discussing a staffing issue, kind of the way Staff Parish was in the past, where it was more confidential, anyone who has decided to attend the meeting just to stay informed or to chime in for whatever reason, or just to observe, we're going to invite them to be dismissed before covering any staffing issues about specific people. So that'll allow us to maintain the confidentiality. For Ad Council, those meetings are open to everyone. They will be live streamed, so they can be seen by anybody who can't make it. And we encourage everyone to come and participate in those. So that's the scoop for leadership in 2023. We'll learn a lot as we go, but I'm looking forward to learning those things and participating and leading with you in the year to come. So thanks. God bless. See you real soon.